Hi book lovers, it's Jenny at Julia Baby Jen's Reading Room, and this is my Bout of Books 8.0 Read-a-thon wrap-up.
Busted!
Oh, I didn't do as good as I did in my last read-a-thon, but I still got a lot of reading done. I read a total of 8 books, which is pretty good. The total page count was 3,019 pages, so that's pretty darn good, I think. So let's go over what I read. My favorite book of the week was Fire Country by David Estes. This was a 5-star read for me and my favorite David Estes book so far. I really love this book. I mean, I think it's one of my favorite dystopians I've read. It had everything I want in a good dystopian, and it was totally different, and I really did like it, and I can't wait to read the rest of this series. This is the first in the Country Saga, so I'm really excited. I had a lot of problems reading it though, not through the book's fault, but through my my device's fault. I have it as an ebook on my Nook account. I bought it through Barnes & Noble, and this is my Nook, and I've had this Nook almost 3 years, and it's been giving me fits every now and then. And so my mom, because I was complaining about it, gave me my grandma's old Nook, which is basically the same Nook, just a little bit updated version. It's not as old. So she gave me this so I could just transfer my account over to this and have a nicer Nook, was the theory. So I started reading on this because I hadn't set this up yet when I wanted to read this, and this one's battery was dead, so I had to charge it. So I just started reading it on my regular Nook, and I got to about the 80% mark, and it started glitching, and I couldn't get it to work. And then the battery died, and then it was just, I spent like an hour playing with it to try to get it to work, and I was so annoyed because I so wanted to finish this book. And so I'm like, alright, fine, I will go ahead, and because I had charged this one while I was reading off of this one, so I'm like, okay, fine, I will just set this up. So I spent, whatever it takes, like 10-15 minutes setting this up on my account. And actually both are set to my account, so I actually have 2. But then I went to download the book onto, using your Wi-Fi, download the book onto this Nook, and it won't download. And I don't know why. It's connected to the network, everything. I mean, I could shop off of it, I can connect to anything online with it, but it won't download the stinking book. I don't know why. So frustrating. My husband spent like 3 hours playing with it last night, and he couldn't get it to work either. And if he can't get something to work, there's something wrong. So I think there might be a problem with my account. I'm probably going to have to call Barnes & Noble to figure this out, because this is ridiculous. Both Nooks can't be not working. That's ridiculous. So I ended up actually finishing the book off of my phone. And I'm using my phone to record, but I have my Nook and my Kindle app on my phone, and that's how I read all my Kindle books, so I just ended up finishing it on my phone. But it wouldn't sync it. I got the book and everything downloaded onto my phone. Normally it syncs where you're at in the book, and you just open it and you read from there. It wouldn't sync where I was at on the book, which makes me think that there is something wrong with the network. So I don't know. So I went in and had to actually find where I was at to finish it. But finished it. I loved it. Once I finally got it going, I was so happy. I was like seriously in tears. I was so upset over this because I was like, oh, I am almost done with this book. What is the problem? So yeah. Anyway, I finished it. I loved it. Great read. Totally recommend it if you love dystopians. Really good dystopian. Moving on. Technology hates me. I say that all the time. Technology hates me. And people think I'm joking. I'm not. Even my husband has figured this out. One day he was fixing things. He fixes stuff for me like all the time. And it's not like I don't know how to fix stuff. I do. It's just, it just doesn't work. When I said that one day he was fixing stuff because he looks at you, he's like, you really are cursed. Everything you touch breaks. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is. I can't have technology. It just doesn't work. Alright, so I read The Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, another dystopian. I started off the read-a-thon with this one, and it was a good book to start off with. I gave it 4 stars, and it's a really good dystopian, and I'm excited to read the rest of the series. So I enjoyed it. Revenge of the Girl with a Great Personality by Elizabeth Eulberg. This is a fairly short contemporary, and I enjoyed it. It's actually my favorite so far by her. So I gave it 4 stars, and this was a good read. I did a reread of Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan, which I do love this series a lot, and I flew through this reread. It didn't take me very long at all, and I loved it, and it's 5 stars. And then I was able to read the last book, Serpent's Shadow from the Kane Chronicles, and I loved this one. It tied everything up great, but it left things open-ended for a spin-off or another series later, kind of like Percy Jackson. So I like that, and I gave this one 5 stars. Alice in the Country of Hearts, #1. This is actually, I think, it just says #1 on the spine, and I saw 3 of them at my library. But looking on Goodreads, it looks like there's actually like 6 or so stories, and they did these into volumes, so this is like #1 and 2. So I guess I read both 1 and 2, I guess. I don't know how that works. But I enjoyed it. It was good magna. 4 stars. Dreamland by Sarah Dessen, and I think so far this is my favorite Sarah Dessen, just because it was a lot darker and grittier than I was expecting, and I enjoyed that. It was a fairly quick read, even though it was heartbreaking, and I gave it 4 stars. And the last book I read, I already brought back to the library, was a reread of Graceling by Kristen Kishore, which I love. 5-star read. Now I want to reread Fire and compare them, because originally when I read Graceling and Fire back to back when I first read them a couple years ago, and I loved Graceling a lot, and I liked Fire better, and most people I've talked to like Graceling better than Fire. So I think I need to, after reading Graceling, I'm like, oh, I forgot how much I love this book. So I might reread Fire just to compare again, because I gotta know for sure which one I like better. Now I can't really remember Fire all that well. I do, but I don't know. I need to reread it. And then I'll read Bitter Blue, which I have not read yet. And also, I was so inspired by reading Graceling, I did make a playlist on my Spotify of songs I thought went well with the book, and there is a video posted on my channel if you want to look at it. So that was my Bout of Books 8.0 readathon. It was really fun. I only did one update halfway through the week. I did all my updates on Twitter. I followed along a lot on Twitter and found some great friends on there, and I'm following new people, and that was fun. The challenges I did every day, I didn't partake. I partaked in like the first couple of days, and then I kind of stopped. I kind of got burnt out after day 4. The first day I read 2 books, second day I read 2 books, the third day I only read 1 book, but I worked all day. The 4th day I did a reread book. I did Throne of Fire, which was fairly quick, and by that point I was kind of getting burnt out. The 5th day I didn't read anything. I did not read anything on that Friday. I spent a lot more time online, and I was just kind of burnt out. Actually, if I remember right, Friday I was having car issues, and it was a bad day. It was a horrible day. Saturday and Sunday I did fairly well. I read a book basically each day. I read all of Serpent's Shadow on Saturday, and then I started Fire Country on Saturday. Sunday I finished it. If I hadn't had those technical issues, because then I started World War Z, I forgot to mention that. I guess I could add 45 pages to my page count, because I read 45 pages out of World War Z last night. And if I hadn't had so many technical issues yesterday, spending like an hour and a half, 2 hours messing around with trying to get my book loaded so I could finish it, I probably might have been able to finish this book last night. But after I did all that, finished the book, and then I picked this one up and read like 45 pages. It was like 10:30. I put it down and I kind of stopped reading. I was kind of exhausted after all that, but if I hadn't had those technical issues, I probably would have finished this book too. But that's okay. I am liking this book so far. I'm only a little ways into it, but it's good so far, so I will probably try to finish this today. So that was my readathon, and I had fun. I hope anybody else who did it had fun too. I will keep an eye out on their page for their next one. They do them every so often. I'm not sure how often they do them, but I hope you guys are all having a great August, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Busted.